I'm lost in darkness, searching for light. Every step forward feels like a fight. Shadows of doubt creep in my mind, but I refuse to surrender. I must find a way to rise above the pain, to overcome, to break the chains. My existence is a test of will. I won't be broken, I'll stand still. The weight of the world crushes me down. Fear and uncertainty all around. But I deep find inner strength to face the trials length by length. A way to rise above the pain, to overcome, to break the chains. My existence is a test of will. I won't be broken, I'll stand still. Through every storm, I'll find my way. Through every night, a brighter day. I'll rise from ashes, like a phoenix born. My spirit unbroken, my heart reborn. I've walked through fire and emerged scarred, but wiser, stronger, and unmarred. My existence is a test of will, of trials overcome, of a soul made bold. The way of the world, above the pain, to overcome, to break the chains. My existence is a test of will. I won't be broken, I'll stand still. Oh, made bold. Through every storm, I'll find my way. Through every night, a brighter day. I'll rise from ashes like a phoenix born. My spirit unbroken, my spirit unborn. Day to day, nothing changes. All I want is a moment to think clearly, but thoughts come unrelenting, consuming every waking moment. My mind binds me and I can't escape. I shout for help when no one hears me. One day I feel I'll just disappear. Lost in this chaos, I'm searching for peace.
Hey, greetings and salutations, everyone, and welcome to the Dirt Sheet Radio NXT Roadblock post-show rewind. It is March the 11th, 2025. I'm Tyler, the Pro Wrestling Hipster, here with Little Molly Holly, and can you believe it? We've got CJ.
Risen from the dead, quote unquote. No, I just
Canada. You're just in Canada. You're not dead. You're just in Canada.
Yeah, I more on I'm sorry, my painkillers are kicking in.
It's gonna be
My
a fun show, guys.
Yeah, my back has just been killing me the last few days, so if I stop being coherent at any point, trust me, that's why.
I'll just cut your mic. If slurs start flowing from your mouth, we'll know it's
Whoa.
over.
I mean, let's be clear here. I am in no way Roseanne Barr.
Well, right. the side effects of the sleep medication. Apparently, Molly's getting out of here before we all get canceled. She's booking it. But guys, we're here to talk about NXT. We had a heck of a show with a historic finish to tonight's main event, which we will get into all in due time. But before we can actually get into any of the fun and action here today, I want to give a shout out to the us on the web, dirtsheetradio.com. It is your one-stop shop for all things professional wrestling entertainment. Check it out. Make it your homepage. Look at it multiple times a day, just like we do. Not because we're legally obligated to do so, but because we love to do it. But yeah, CJ, we had a heck of an NXT tonight. PLE quality show across the board. We had 5 matches on the docket here tonight, and we are just going to hit this from the beginning and run through the show because it was a lot to cover and a lot to take in. NXT came to us live tonight from New York, Madison Square Garden, to be specific, the theater at Madison Square Garden. Really cool looking venue, by the way. Really dug the lighting of the roof and whatnot. It looked really cool. Very unique setting for NXT tonight, which is in tread with NXT on these on the road shows. I feel like they do a fairly good job of making the on the road venues look different.
Well, yeah, I appreciate that because we get the same aesthetic every single week on Raw and SmackDown, and
Mm-hmm.
to be fair, we do get it for most of NXT's. But yeah, like you said, these road shows that they do on Tuesdays really help the brand stand out, or rather, events stand out to new viewers of the brand where it's like there's still fairly smaller crowds than Raw
Mm-hmm.
or SmackDown, but I mean, when it comes to stand and deliver, we know they're going to be able to sell out.
Oh yeah, and they did say tonight was a sellout. I'm not really sure what that means in terms of numbers. I don't have a ticket number on that, but they were touting it as a sellout tonight. But again, when it's kind of an unusual venue for them, a sellout's whatever they kind of make it to be. In the end of the day, it's what they set the show to be set for. But tonight, the as the show opened, we had Vic Joseph running down the show, and typically they show wrestlers filtering into the building. Tonight, they kind of showed everyone milling around New York City, which is a little bit of a different aesthetic for that. I did see a couple pictures of them at the Empire State Building, and I thought it was kind of funny that Stephanie Vacker was wearing her horns on top of the Empire State Building. I'm surprised she got through security with those on.
It was probably one of those, hey, we're filming, this is part of it.
Well, she also had her championship belt, as did Obafemi. So, you know what? If they got that through any sort of metal detection and security, then I guess the horns are just child's play at that point.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But we were starting off hot tonight. We had Fraxium and the Hardy Boys for the TNA Tag Team Championships, and this really set the pace and the tone for the night. Action bell to bell. The Hardys, they obviously ain't getting any younger, but they can still go where it counts. They can still get their spots in, and they can still look like the Hardys. Obviously we are far removed from the hot topic emblazoned Hardys of 2000, but they can still do this, especially when you're in there with someone with like Fraxium. They can create movement with a blow up doll, and this match was great. Solid work from everyone. I was actually a little surprised, CJ. I thought our boys, Fraxium, I thought they were going to do it tonight, man. But when it was all said and done, 12 minutes, 8 seconds, the Hardys retaining the TNA Tag Team Championship. No gold crossing company lines quite yet. CJ, what do you think of tonight's opening match?
Well, I mean, as far as the result goes, I don't think I'm particularly surprised. As much as it feels like it could have happened, it doesn't feel like the first time we do a uh, someone from the other brand carrying the other brand's championship. I think that's where you save that for a proper premium live event instead of an episode of NXT.
That is
But
fair.
But you talked about setting the tone. Holy shit, did they ever? Like, this was a very entertaining match, and we knew that, the Hardys work so well with a wide variety of teams, Fraxium being
Mhm.
very easy to work with.
Oh yeah,
I
I'm pretty sure
so
we could
they
work a match with Fraxium. I'm pretty sure.
Well, we'll talk about throwing the gauntlet down in a bit, but I think we knew going in that they were going to give us a 5-star classic.
Hmm.
D- God, now half the internet's going to come after me for that, but I
It
no,
wasn't in
this was
Japan,
a
CJ. It can't be 5
yeah,
stars.
7 stars if it was in the Tokyo Dome.
There you go.
Uh, I no, I think we knew going in that they were going to give us a hell of a match, and obviously they delivered. Being able to, keep up with Fraxium at this point in the Hardys' career, I think is a testament to how good they still are in the ring as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And there were some good spots, some big spots in there, not just from Fraxium's side. I'll bring this slide back up here. I cringed a little bit when I saw him setting up for a side effect outside the ring. It's like, Matt, you are not, those hips ain't young, Matt. Like, but woo, like, but he smoked it with that. But yeah, solid work. I look forward to, hopefully seeing this again in the future. I wouldn't mind them running this back. Now, you mentioned, saving a company crossing championship victory for a bigger show. Do you think, at Stand and Deliver, there's a chance that we may see either an NXT championship go to TNA or vice versa
Well,
at
and
Stand and Deliver?
that was actually going to be part of my question to you because, and I mean, with this and the NXT Championship that we had later on that we'll talk about, um, do we look at this the same way that we do where if a champion gets pinned, that essentially sets up a title match for their championship? So are we going to see these scripts flipped and we run it back for the other championship at Stand and Deliver? The Hardys challenging Fraxium for the NXT championships and Oba Femi coming after the X Division title.
Yeah,
Is that the opportunity for them to um, see a title change hands there?
I could absolutely see that being the case, and you're right. The argument. I don't think it's even the argument to be made. That's just the unspoken bylaws of this crazy world we call professional wrestling. You beat a champion, that puts you in line for a championship match, and we'll even talk about this later. But last week in tag team action, Sol Ruca pinned Chelsea Green, and Chelsea Green is going to be now defending her United States Championship against Sol Ruca next week. So, even in a tag scenario, they've established that puts you in line, or maybe even potentially next in line. So, absolutely, CJ, I think we will see the Hardys getting a NXT tag title shot in the near future, as well as Obafemi getting a shot at that X Division championship, if provided that Moose still has that championship after this week. And well, I'll save that for the Moose Oba talk later. But I was confused going into today. We'll say that in terms of this championship. But back to this match. Yeah, I feel like I don't know. Like I said, I was a little surprised. I thought it was going to happen, but really, eh, putting it that way, if they can run this back for Stand and Deliver, you know what? The Hardys winning makes absolute sense here. I'm all for it. It was a great match, a lot of fun. The crowd was into it. I feel like the crowd was a little more into the Hardys than Fraxium tonight.
But it's hard not to be into the Hardys.
Yeah.
Like they have the the experience with the WWE audience that has covered decades.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
and as much as it's good to see Fraxium tearing it up and being the top of the NXT tag team division, their resume still pales in comparison to the Hardys.
Oh yeah.
So if they are setting up for the Hardys to, still be able to make further history by not only winning the NXT tag titles for the first time, but being those first TNA wrestlers to win WWE Gold as TNA stars.
Yeah, it's God, we say it a lot, but the partnership is just delivering week after week. It's fantastic. But anything else on the opening match here tonight?
That miscue finish, the seeing um, Axiom and Fraser miscommunication leading to them losing the match. This is a line that they're still just bordering uh, the will they won't they, as far as one turning on the other. Are we getting back into that narrative, do you think?
I, it's always there. I feel like it's almost like every 24 days you could set a calendar by it. It's its own calendar. It's a Fraxium breakup calendar. But every 24 days they will tease something with the division between the two of them. But it's part of their shtick and part of their ability to overcome. They've even had they've had Vic Joseph say on commentary, or he has said of his own volition on commentary. He's probably not as coached as they used to be, but he has said that Fraxium is at their best when they're also kind of at each other because they're trying to one up each other in the action as well. So I don't know. I feel like it's always kind of part of their character, but they haven't touched on it for a while. They've been on the same page pretty much since they both had to fight Obafemi.
Yeah, makes sense.
Because that'll put you on the same page, effing up and
Oh,
having to fight Obafemi.
well, hey, I mean, it's worked for A Town Down Under too. Like, they haven't been fighting as much.
See, it's the Obafemi effect. It's the Oba effect. The femication. Femication?
Uh,
Fementation. It's like fermentation, but Okay. Let's
we'll
move on.
workshop it.
Yeah, it's coming together. But back in the backstage, they had mentioned going into tonight that the coaches, the legends, if you will, from LFG were going to be present in the building tonight. And they didn't really cart them out in front of the crowd per se. They kind of had them involved in these backstage segments throughout the night. And we got Mickie James crossing paths with Jaida Parker. And she was, looking for some advice regarding the situation with Julia and Stephanie. And Mickie told her that, some people wait for opportunities and some people go and take and make them. CJ, what'd you think of Mickey's advice and crossing paths here with Jaida tonight?
Well, it felt very prophetic in a way because it gave me the impression that they are really ready to push um, Jada. Jada. So is this the teasing of that push?
I think it could definitely be a start there. I mean, you know, long time viewers of our of our rewinds here have heard me say this probably a couple dozen times, but Jaida Parker is without question the real deal. Like she has every single thing you need to be a successful wrestler. She's, good in the ring, getting better week to week. She understands her character. She's good at playing her role in her character. She's good on the mic. She's believable. You believe that she's tough. You believe her emotions and her feelings. She sells well. She does everything well. And I don't think it's time for her to be up at the main roster quite yet. Like give her maybe another year and a half at least. Like put some NXT gold on her. Give her some time to cook with the belt down there. But she's incredible, and I think that this is definitely a very visible stamp and seal of approval from management for her.
Yeah, I agree. And uh, is she a face now?
I think so. I feel like the further away from OTM they get her, the further out the mud they get her, as it would be. See what I did there? Uh, um, I also try to periodically like to remind folks that OTM stands for out the mud because they don't really ever say that on air. Um, but I feel like the further they've kind of moved her away from them, the more face she's started to lean. But yeah, I mean, even without saying she's a full fledged face, she's definitely getting that response and that reaction. She's over. People like her. They want to cheer for her, and I think they like to see her get some gold. I wouldn't mind seeing her have a North American Championship run in the near future. We'll get to that though, as to what the future holds there. But yeah, I think the future is definitely bright for Miss Jaida Parker.
Absolutely.
All right, staying in the backstage, we had the family having their kind of. God, I feel like this is what I used to say about the Judgment Day every week on Raw. Their obligatory "Are they going to break up anytime soon?" segment, but this was the families, and yeah, there's still some friction, man. It looks like Stax is kind of rightfully blaming himself for Tony D's loss. Had he not collided with Tony and sent Tony clattering into that chair, you could make an argument that his back wouldn't have given out and he would still be holding the North American Championship. But yeah, they establish here that next week Stax is taking the initiative, and he has a 6-person tag set up where he and Luca and Rizzo will be taking on Nico Vance, Brooks Jensen, and Izzy Dame. CJ, what do you think of this segment, and what's it doing with the family right now?
I don't know, but for some reason it just feels like I'm not getting invested in this family drama, like it feels like just a miscommunication issue between
Mm-hmm.
what's up, Bobby? Between the underboss and the Don. So
Mm-hmm.
just I don't know. It kind of just I'm over it.
Do you think this is going to lead to Tony D perhaps leaving the family and maybe making a move to the main roster?
I I don't know. It
We're getting to a now and never kind of point. I feel like with Tony D'Angelo in the main roster, and there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with being an NXT career person, but it's the hour's starting to tick. I feel like for Tony.
well, and especially like how much are the other members of the family getting closer to being main roster ready?
Hmm.
What is their anchor if not Tony D'Angelo?
Right.
So if Tony does end up getting released at any point, how how are they going to come together and be
Yeah.
better without Tony?
Yeah, it could have a kind of a chase you cascading effect, which could
Mm,
be unfortunate. Because, like, I mean, we haven't, heard anything regarding Riley Osborne or Thea Hale in a while. Thea tweeted that she misses everybody. I think I can speak for everyone when I say we all miss Thea Hale. but um, but yeah, I would worry that if Tony does leave the family or if Tony goes main roster without the family, then it would just kind of leave them as a ship without a sail, as it would be.
mm. Well,
And none
we'll
of them are really ready for that, honestly. They work as a cohesive unit, but I don't think that Luca or Stax or Adriana Rizzo, any of them are ready to kind of stand on their own as an act. And it would be weird to keep them together without Tony. Same as it would have been weird to have Duke Hudson, Riley Osborne, and Thea Hale together without Andre Chase.
true.
Yeah,
I think they are kind of sink or swim together. So if Tony's ready but the rest of the family isn't, then Tony has to, suck it up for another year
yeah,
and also bear the weight of any failure to get them ready within that calendar year.
right. And again, I've said this before too. I'm not even 100% sure if the mobster gimmick will work at the main roster level.
No. It does feel like an NXT gimmick.
Hmm. Yeah, it does. It does. But all right, on to our next match on the card. We had Roxanne Perez one-on-one with Jordynne Grace, running it back here, and I was excited for this one. I was pumped to see what they could do without a title being on the line. I said this last week on the show as well. But I felt like this kind of ended a foregone conclusion that Jordynne Grace was going to get her win back, as it were, here. Also, I mean, Roxy's time at NXT is dwindling down, and she's giving back. She's putting him over. She's staring at the lights on her way up to the going north, kid. But Jordynne Grace did get the win here tonight. 11 minutes, 28 seconds. Fantastic match, man. I thought this was on par with their NXT women's match they had last year. But yeah, solid work here. Like I said, I felt it was understandable and predictable. Not that there's anything wrong with predictability in pro wrestling from time to time. But yeah, this was Jordynne Grace's match here, as she's going to be sticking around on NXT for a while longer, and Roxy's on her way out. But CJ, brother, what did you think of this match? Jordynne Grace getting the win here, and Roxy's future.
Well, and yeah, for both topics, like I thought this was a solid match for sure, but it didn't feel like it really added anything that we hadn't seen. Like you said, it was on par with their last match, and I agree. This
Oh, I think I lost you there,
was a
CJ.
really good match. But oh, am I back?
Yep, you're back. Yep,
Hello?
yep.
Oh, okay,
I
cool.
can hear
Yeah, it just didn't feel like it was anything new,
you. Yeah.
essentially.
It was the kind of the last minute addition to the card, as it were. To last week, it was kind of the last one they tacked on there to kind of fill out that five match. When they have a, even on their Tuesday night shows, I feel like when it's kind of more of a PLE style build for everything, they like to go with that five match formula. That seems to be their sweet spot there.
hmm Well, and especially when they're still contained to that tight 2 hour network TV time frame.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that is the only kind of drawback to the special weekly episodes. But yeah, I mean, it did feel special tonight, though. Like I said at the top of the show, this was PL quality matches, PL quality card. Yeah. Yeah, but but good work here. Like I said, I mean, what's left for Roxy here? I mean, what you think we're going to get a match with her and Cora Jade?
No, I think this is it.
You think this is it?
I think this was her final match. I
Oh, okay.
don't.
No stand and
The
deliver
reason
match for her.
for that, well, because they're keeping it to that tight five, I think there's gonna be um, more to do than there's really room for Roxanne. Like if they want to have her, to probably have her on TV the week of WrestleMania, but not on WrestleMania itself.
You don't think there's any chance we get a Bailey Roxy match?
If it is at WrestleMania, I'm thinking probably pre-show.
Yeah, yeah. Or very lower card night one if it's not pre-show,
hmm
but all right. Yeah, but yeah, otherwise great matchup. But yeah, maybe that is it. We'll know soon what the future holds for Roxanne Perez. But
And and if they do end up doing Roxanne and Cora, I'm not gonna be disappointed.
right.
Like that is a match that I've been looking forward to seeing, you know, for quite some time. So if they do end up going that way, great.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, back in the backstage. Again, we had another one of our aforementioned LFG legend appearances where we had The Undertaker crossing paths with the ruler, Obafemi, giving him some words of encouragement, some I will say, some sternly worded words of encouragement, but also, a show of respect. And I shared this on Facebook as well. But this was the feel I got from that moment. But he told Oba that tonight was important. He had to go out there and show Moose whose yard it was. So it was good. It was nice to see that. Again, much like the positioning of Jaida Parker with Mickie James, this shows who they have who they have their eyes on and who management is definitely wanting to keep elevated. What'd you think of Undertaker meeting with Oba Femi here, CJ?
I thought that was definitely like a passing of the torch moment that really solidifies what I'm thinking. Obafemi is officially a face now. I think they have um, a hell of a talent in Obafemi, and it makes sense that The Undertaker would be the one to give Oba his flowers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, that was. I thought that was a cool moment. I liked that. I thought, if you're going to have them cross paths, that's a good one to do. And I genuinely hope too with them being now the Performance Center filming LFG. I'm assuming it's all already been filmed. I don't know that. I'm making a guess here. It's just that's the nature of reality TV, right? But
hmm
I'm really
At the
hoping that
very least, we're seeing like 2 hours or 2 weeks. Um, like episode one, and then it's like they've already filmed episode four,
right,
kind of thing.
exactly, yeah. But I
By the
would hope that
way,
they're getting different. Okay.
since we're talking about LFG, I was just going to mention I took your advice and started watching it. And now I'm all caught up. And if anything, LFG has made me hate Booker T's commentary even more because it shows that Booker T is capable of critical thought and
Right.
articulate
Yeah.
feedback. But we don't see that on commentary. Like, even when the crowd was chanting Booker T's name during the main event, after he did his signature, whatever the fuck noise that is that he
Mildly
makes when,
pornographic.
yeah, when Stephanie Vaquer was doing her move, um, I it really just reaffirmed for me that Booker T doing this stuff isn't helping anybody but Booker T.
No, he's doing it for his own entertainment, and it really is a kind of putting himself over instead of getting the match over a lot of times on commentary. Yeah, and it is kind of a kick in the head on LFG because you're right. He does show a critical mind and an eye for everything, and comes across as just I don't know, just much more serious and much more learned. But like I feel like he plays that kooky Booker man, character on NXT, and I'll say, man, the youth like it. I've heard it from kids in my own home that like, oh, I like the way he talks. It's like, oh yeah, it's Gen Z.
Oh.
Yeah,
So he's probably getting encouragement in his headset to be like that, and
yeah, probably. Yeah,
bummer.
yeah. Goodness gracious. But after the crossing of the paths there with Oba and Taker before the upcoming match, we had the Progressive Spotlight this week, which broke down and focused on Eddie Thorpe and Trick Williams, who will be having a NXT Underground match next week. Looking forward to that. Sorry if you see me look up, it's because we're lazy people here and our Christmas tree is still up and a cat is currently climbing it. It's not a real tree, mind you. That would be a fire hazard at this point. But it's Celeste. Hey, please stop. Dear God. Get cats, they said. It's fun. They don't do
So,
crazy.
just while we're talking about your Christmas tree, how late do you usually leave it set up?
Not this late. So there used to be an old fake tree that I had decorated for Mardi Gras from one year that stayed up for like a couple years in the dining room area. And the reason I kept it there was that's where I put the real Christmas tree every year. So I'd take the fake one out, put a real tree there for Christmas, and the cats wouldn't mess with it because they're like, oh, we've seen a tree here all the time, so what's the BFD? But that doesn't work anymore. They figured it out. And right now, I just see things swaying. She's having a good time, though. She's having a good
Well, I
time.
guess at the end of the day, that's all that really matters, right?
Yeah,
The
yeah.
cat's
I will say
entertained.
you can't see it off camera, but the cat's entertained. But Molly is not happy with this. She looks very
Oh,
concerned. Her ears are up. If you hear growling or small tiny, oh my God, she's at the very top. Oh, this is getting intense. All right, we need to get back to the show so I don't have an anxiety attack here.
I disagree. I think you need to turn your camera around and follow this action.
I really can't, unfortunately, as it is literally. I don't know if you knew this. My camera. She's knocking down candy canes. This is getting, folks. This is the turkeys are striking the pavement like wet cement. That's a WKRP Cincinnati reference for our older viewers there, but
It still shows up on my socials every Thanksgiving.
it's good to know. It's good. It's staying alive. But goodness gracious me, I'm hopping us back to the show here. Our next match, we had the ruler, Obafemi, NXT champion, defending his title against the current TNA X Division champion, Moose. And when people say, oh my God, why is that wrestler's name Moose? I say, look at him. What else are you going to call the man? He's the size of a moose, guys. But I didn't think that Moose was going to be capturing NXT gold here tonight, and I was correct in that assumption. Obafemi retaining his title, 13 minutes, 35 seconds. An absolute just meat fest here tonight. Heavy hits, lots of just power-based action. We were just running Booker T down, but I got to quote him here tonight. No bread, no water, just meat. And that is what this match delivered, and the crowd was here for it. CJ, man, what do you think of this match? Oba retaining and how he looked here tonight against someone as dominant and large as Moose.
Well, and it really was just meant to be like Booker's quote, that, just two guys that are built like brick shit houses, getting into the ring and committing unspeakable acts of violence on each other. Like, um, no, like this was a very heavy hitting demolition derby, and it did exactly what it was meant to do and showcase two big guys, and have them put each other through hell. Uh,
Oh yeah.
Great match for sure.
Oh yeah, and oh man, I just kind of juxtapose those spots there, but the gorilla press slam, Obafemi throwing Moose over the top rope, and Moose putting Oba through the commentary table. I like that both those spots were in there. They were relatively close together, but I thought it made for a good juxtaposition of everybody looking good here. And okay, so this is something I want to talk about. Earlier it came up, but I wanted to save it for the proper segment here. When they first announced this, and we talked about this a little bit in the group chat, I swear that Oba himself on NXT said this was going to be title for title. And then
I
I don't know when they walked that back.
Well, and the way I remember it was, um, that the only time it was ever directly stated, was title versus title, was at an Impact TV taping that they most likely edited out, of the final broadcast. Um, yeah, I don't remember it ever being advertised, even on NXT,
I'm
as
gonna have
title
to
for title.
dig. I'm gonna have to dig through and see if I have any like match cards or anything. Like I'm gonna have to dig back through some of my written reports and stuff that I have in my notes, see if I wrote it down or not, like when it happened, or if I'm just misremembering it, guys. I've some things affect the memory from time to time, But But yeah, but so that was kind of I was a little confused about a week ago. I felt like they stopped mentioning it, but it's entirely possible I'm misremembering it. But that being said, I didn't think that Moose was going to be walking out of here with the NXT Championship tonight. Um, so Oba retaining made absolute sense here, and he looked great doing it. We talk about someone like Jaida Parker having everything it takes to be, a mainstay main eventer for a very long time. Obafemi is right there as well. He is so young and just so gifted at every aspect of professional wrestling. It's just it's incredible, and I don't think he actually has a limit on what he's capable of once he is fully prepared for the main roster.
100%. And even just the fact that they were showing him on Monday Night Raw, still, like they've done this about 3 times now with him sitting in the crowd, showing off his championship. And it feels like he's very close to being main roster ready,
Yeah.
potentially even, night after WrestleMania.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I've said this before too, but like, if VKM were still running the show, he'd have been pulled up to the main roster like 5 months ago,
Yeah. I,
like without question. Like, he would have taken one look at his size and just physique, and was like, "Son of a bitch, get him on the main roster."
and ends up with Apollo Cruz's Nigerian Prince gimmick.
Exactly. Them and Omos, they would all have been a unit together. That would have been God. It's so wonderful that that's not a reality anymore.
Yeah, I count my blessings every day.
Yeah, but great match. Again, guys, if you haven't watched NXT tonight, make sure that you go back and check it out. It was solid from top to bottom, but heavy hitting, no bread, no water, just meat. Make sure you go check it out, guys. Lots of heavy action in that one. But back in the backstage, Fallon Henley and the rest of Fatal Attraction were badgering, yelling at, chasing around, harassing Ava as Fallon is still
All of the
gunning.
above.
Yeah, everything all at once. Select D for all of the above. But Fallon Henley really wants her rematch for the North American Championship. And as this was going on, up came Ricky Starks. Oh, damn it, I did it! It even
Uh,
says Saints on the screen if I would have just read.
if it makes you feel any better, I did it in like the moment watching NXT. I was like, "Oh yeah, Ricky Starks." Oh no, that's not it.
Ricky
Yeah.
Saints approach and asked again, why is everyone so angry all the time at NXT? And he was told by them that they don't think he belongs there either. They agree with what he was told last week. And here he crossed paths with Ethan Page. And Ethan Page very brazenly stated that they don't like outsiders here at NXT.
Oh, and of course, just
At this
he,
point, he'll tell the story that he's like a founding roster member of NXT.
I was a critical. I was one of the 4 pillars of Black and Silver NXT.
Oh man.
Yeah, him, Lexus King, Shawn Spears, and who else can we? Who's our 4th pillar?
Do we have to yank someone from AEW
Um,
for
you
it?
know what? Fuck it, Cody Rhodes.
It's Cody. It's just he's made some appearances down at NXT
Yeah,
in this era.
exactly.
So yeah,
Totally
sure.
valid.
Yeah, there we go. Why not? That's it exactly. Just
Just
we're
to
rewriting
put
history
a
here tonight.
Yeah, just to put a nicely tied ribbon on the AEW joke that I was trying to make.
Yeah, perfect. But that is going
Thanks
to
for
take
playing
us.
along, Tyler.
Of course I do. That's what we do. That's the first rule of improv, CJ. Yes, and that's how it works. But
Oh yeah.
that's going to take us into our next match, a New York City street fight all ego, Ethan Page taking on the young OG Javon Evans. And I love when wrestlers dress for a street fight when it's a street fight. That always makes me happy. But this was good, man. This was a lot of action, a lot of dangerous looking spots. A lot of big spots here. Crowd was on board with this 100%. And of course, a big part of the story here is Javon Evans going to be ruthless enough? Is Javon Evans going to be violent enough to get his pound of flesh here tonight to possibly find his smile again? And 14 minutes, 34 seconds. Javon Evans gets the win here tonight after what I thought was a hell of a finishing spot. A springboard cutter with Ethan Page's head through the chair for the 3. And of course that had to be for the 3. How do you kick out of something like that? I thought the spot looked great. When I saw them set up for that, I'm like, this has the potential to kill 2 people and be incredibly clunky at the same time. But man, it went off without a hitch. It was very smooth, great finish, great match. CJ, what'd you think of this one tonight? And Javon Evans getting his win here.
Well, I love that finish. Just to tack on to that, uh, it was one of those moments that was shocking and one that you really have to admire the athleticism that it takes to pull something like that off. Not only safely, but just in general to make it look good. And they made it look easy. So bravo to both Javon and Paige for that. Even though Paige's theme is still one of the most irritating that NXT has right now. But this was a great match. I thought it had the same sort of problem that I touched on with Jordan and Roxy's match, is that we've now seen this match a few times, and you know, even last match was a fairly hard hitting, like it was also a no disqualification variant, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we've all we just saw this, so why it's good to see Javon coming out on top as opposed to the last one where Paige won,
Right.
but other than that, it didn't really add anything.
I think this is the end of it for them. I don't see
Oh,
him
for
running this
sure.
back with them. And it's interesting that tonight was roadblock, but I feel in some ways it was kind of road bump because it put them in a little bit of a booking corner. They had to put some big money matches, some pins in some feuds here. And I think the show suffered just a hair for that. Because you're right, there was a couple instances of us running it back and having seen what was being done, but the crowd was into it and getting a win at Madison Square Garden. I mean, that's something that any wrestler wants, right? So that's a nice thing for Javon Evans to have gotten a win on the scale of Madison Square Garden.
Very true. And speaking of moving on to different things, after the match, Javon was attacked by the Four Musketeers or whatever the hell they're calling themselves. I had it written in my notes that I was looking forward to seeing them go on to better things, and then these guys come out, and I'm like, oh yeah, they're totally guys that exist.
Yeah, Cutler James is in there. Yeah, so far the masked quartet does not have a name. I will say this: I think they're going to be tied into Trick Williams's forthcoming heel turn. I think they're going to be.
That's
I know it comes out a little out of left field, but here's the thing: they've attacked a lot of people. And I think that all of the people they've attacked have been people that were associated with Trick Williams at one point in time. They jumped Oba Femi. Oba beat him. Javon ran with Trick, but Javon has pissed Trick off. Like it's. I don't know. I'm telling you, CJ. I'm. This is one of these maybe hipster called it kind of things. But when Trick Williams goes heel, I think it's going to be revealed that these dudes are running dirty things for Trick Williams.
So, can you think of a connection for attacking Fraxium?
No, I
Because
really
that was
can't.
who they attacked
Early
before
before
Obafemi.
Oba, yeah. Yeah, and it otherwise does a lot of the chaos they've caused on air. Well, they did wreck Ava's office, and he's been upset with Ava, and they couldn't really probably physically hurt Ava, so they took it out on Mr. Stone. But I mean,
Hmm,
it's Mr. Stone. I don't think that's really getting them any heel points anyway. I wouldn't really.
not really.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just saying. I'm not saying. I'm just saying. I think it's a possibility. Just putting that out there. But they have no name as it currently is. But you know who does have a name now, CJ?
Well, I feel like that's a segue into our next segment. Before we do, though, I just wanted to mention, um, I had it written in my notes for um, Evans getting attacked by these guys. I'm like, gotta be honest, they're essentially wrestling's version of Doctor Who's The Silence.
Okay. Which are people forgetting about them?
I do. Any
Oh,
Anytime I'm
that
not
might be
looking at them, I completely forget they exist.
what an indictment of Retribution 2.5.
Wait, what? So 2.5.
Yeah.
What's the numbering scale there?
It's NXT. You know, I don't there's no good explanation. I offer no explanation. It's 2.5. It's
All
Retribution
right.
2.5.
I guess I'll just accept that as your
Yeah.
answer.
Yeah, it's all because of Cutler James. That's what it has to do with it. It's all Cutler James. I just love saying Cutler James because his name should probably be James Cutler. Sounds more natural, but yeah,
Nope.
but our we had a pre-tape. Obviously, it's pre-taped. It's a vignette. Vignettes are always pre-taped by nature. That's what a vignette is, Tyler. Jesus. But Shawn Spears talking with his crew here, as I call them, the information bush, the education shrub. They are not a learning tree. And here's the thing: they do have a name officially. They are the culling, which you know what? As someone who enjoys the English language, great word. Great word. I love it. And not a bad name for a group either. But you waited too many weeks, Shawn. You're the information bush. You will always be the information bush. You know what? I think he watches the show, CJ. I think he's heard me call it the information bush so many times that he's like, we got to get a name on this right now, pronto. Like, immediately. This is.
The mentorship topiary.
Yeah, that's good. Yes. See? And yeah, it's this is Ludwig Kaiser stopping wearing black turtlenecks all over again because I talked about him looking like Mike Myers' character from Sprockets. Which I still maintain that's why he did that. I'm taking credit for that one because he's been wearing white turtlenecks ever since. But but yeah, so they are the calling officially. They said it about 14 times in this vignette. But no, otherwise, the vignette was perfectly fine. I thought it, did a good job of, again, kind of establishing each of the characters and kind of their motivations into why they have fallen in line here with Shawn Spears. But CJ, how are you feeling about Shawn here? I've said a couple times that I'm on board with him and what he's doing here. I feel like this is clicking for him. But where are you at on the information bush, the culling, if you will?
I'm still kind of torn. Like he's starting to uh sorry. Um he's actually starting to gain some momentum,
Mm-hmm.
even before his North American title win. But I think he had um, a good opportunity to, um, bring the rest of the calling up, elevate them as well. And um, I'm glad that Izzy Dame is kind of surviving losing her association with Kiana James. Um, so I yeah, I think it's good that they're doing well for the most part. I'm starting to get interested in them.
Yeah, I like what they're doing here. Like I said, more than a few times, and I just as an aside, I found out this past week that, and I maybe other people know this already and aren't going to be as shocked by this information as I was when I found it out. But Brooks Jensen is Bull Buchanan's son.
I remember your reaction posting that in the chat when you found out.
Yeah, I had no idea whatsoever that B squared his father. But yeah, that was a shock to me. So no idea. I had no idea that he's a second generation wrestler, but he is Bull Buchanan's kid. Guys, look it up. It's real. Well,
Can confirm.
I mean, as confirmation as Wikipedia can be, I suppose.
Well, I'm sure it's confirmable through other sources too.
Probably, yeah, I'm sure. But that was the first thing that popped up when I went to confirm it on the old Google. But back into the theater at MSG, we had Sarah Schreiber interviewing Eddie Thorpe regarding his upcoming NXT Underground match with Trick Williams taking place this Tuesday night. And I just read the sign in the background
I
there.
also just read the side.
That might be sign of the week this week. Look, he doesn't like the splashback. There's nothing wrong with it, okay? It's fine. But he was talking just, mad crap here about Trick Williams. And Trick didn't stand for it for too long. And Trick jumped in from behind. They brawled over the announce table there until Trick stood tall here. And this gave them the opportunity to play his entrance theme in the arena, letting the crowd, chant along. And, of course, it also gave Booker T the opportunity to throw around his I like it and oh yeah, man's as it would be. But CJ, what'd you think of this segment here ahead of their match coming up next Tuesday?
I loved hearing Eddie Thorpe get such a volatile
Oh yeah,
reaction from the crowd. Like, I thought his work as a good guy was perfectly good, you know, but his work as a heel has just been incredible.
I agree.
And I think if he's able to walk away from his feud with Trick with some momentum, he might actually be able to do something with it.
Yeah, I think it's really starting to come together for him here. Um, I'm trying to remember. It was one of their previous on the road shows, and I was stunned with the amount of heat that Eddie Thorpe was getting from that crowd. And he's been getting that consistently, especially on the road. He gets booed in the Performance Center, but it's a different level when they're on the road, and that's astonishing and great. Not really astonishing so far as the work he's putting in, because I think he's doing some really good heel work here, and it's been a slow grind for him to really start clicking and chugging with this, but it's just a great barometer in terms of the amount of heat he's getting and how over as a heel he is. That's what I was surprised about. We talked about the importance of them being on the road to really get a true feel and understanding of, where everyone on the roster is. He's one of the most over heels they have.
100%.
And I,
And
I wouldn't
so,
have I wouldn't have called that a year ago.
oh, absolutely not. And I think me personally, I was just wanting to root for Eddie Thorpe. So anything that could have come across as valid criticism, I think I would have just, not really given it a second thought. But and I guess to be fair, might get that way about his heel work too, but I'm really looking forward to seeing what they do in Underground next week.
Yeah. Um, who do you put over here, man? Because like I will say this, I feel like I know Eddie won the strap match, and that was kind of shocking for a lot of folks. I was one of those folks that was a little shocked by that. But man, I don't know that it would really hurt Trick, but I kind of think Eddie needs to win this match.
I was thinking that exact same thing. Like his thing so far has been not losing an Underground
Yeah,
match.
he even said that
So
tonight. He said it's his environment, you know.
So I also really want to see him continue to go on undefeated in the
Yeah,
underground,
yeah.
especially as a heel, because that can work so much better for his heel character to get some heat.
Mhm. Oh yeah, because it's an environment where he is permitted by his employer to be more violent, ruthless, and aggressive. You know, like he's being encouraged to knock somebody the hell out. You know, like it's you can't say that a lot at your job. You know, even as a wrestler.
Absolutely.
It's
Few and
but
far
yeah.
between.
Right. Well, yeah, I would like to see him get the win here, and I don't think it'll hurt Trick that much. And I think Trick's main roster bound pretty soon here anyway, so maybe he's kind of in that place where Roxy settled into, where it's time to elevate folks and put them over on your way up north, kid. But but
That
yeah,
could be it too.
yeah. But all right, guys. Let's see. That was that. All right, that takes us up to tonight's main event. I think the marquee match. I mean, there was a lot on tonight's show, but this, going into the show, you knew this was going to be the main event. This one had the most to gain, the most to lose. But Women's North American Champion Stephanie Vacker taking on NXT Women's Champion Julia, one-on-one, title for title. Winner takes all of the gold. Great match here tonight. 11 minutes, 20 seconds. As we said at the top of the show, history made here tonight. Stephanie Vacker capturing the NXT Women's Championship, now a dual champion holding both titles, beating Julia. Brilliant match. Everything was crisp here. The crowd was into it. It felt right, man. This felt right. The only bummer to me is that Julia's title reign is kind of abrupt, but holy hell, this was an exciting moment. This was a big moment, a historical moment. CJ, what do you think of the match? Stephanie Vacker making history here, and what do you think this means for Julia going forward?
Well, and I think as far as the winner of the match, I agree. I think this was the best decision. It I don't know if Julia's NXT run was meant to be short term. I mean, we've seen a couple examples in the past where someone has an NXT run just for, the sake of doing a stint in NXT. Like Dragon
Right.
Lee, I think was only originally supposed to do like 8 or 9 months, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then he did come to the main roster and then went back to NXT for a bit because I think that was when
Was that when
JD
he was?
got injured. No, it was. Oh, because wasn't it because they released Mustafa Ali?
Yeah. Yep. That was then. Good grief, man. That feels like so long ago now.
Oh yeah, they're just
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
But yeah, excellent match. Very good showcase for both women. And I think if they don't have Stephanie vacate the title, do you see like the North American title? Do you see her losing it sooner rather than later?
Yeah, and, that puts him in a little bit of a corner if she doesn't just straight out vacate it, because you don't want your top champion really to lose under any circumstance. Um, they could have the only way I would really be okay with her losing it in a defense is if they set it up in a scenario where she's defending both titles in one night. They have her do the world title first, because I mean, if I were defending a belt, I'd want to do the higher one when I'm at full strength and capacity, and then just have some screwy wild finish, maybe involving fatal influence, to get that belt back off of her. If they do go to a tournament, Fallon Henley might attack Ava.
And that's where Ava starts her in-ring career.
Nope, no, Ava Boss. We're not doing that. She has already learned and taught us all. She's learned and taught that she is not. She was not born for in-ring competition.
Fair enough. Um, yeah, I don't know um, if it's gonna be because I'm trying to remember when Keith Lee did it. He vacated the North American Championship right away, right?
I think so. God, talk about being even further back. We're going into years now.
Yeah. But even on the main roster, like when Becky won both titles, she ended up losing the SmackDown one right away.
Yeah.
So, I mean, really anything can happen. I think those are the two most likely scenarios. But if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Wouldn't be the first time, won't be the last.
It's just going to infuriate Fallon. Like she's still waiting on her rematch, much like Randy Orton's still waiting on his world title rematch from like 7 or 8 years ago now. So 9,
Hmm.
10, 11. Jesus, it's a long time. Wrestling never stops, guys. But yeah, that's the main event there, guys. In a nutshell, really really great. Again, kind of PLE light show tonight for NXT, and we are barreling down the highway towards Stand and Deliver now. There's nothing left, big show wise, between NXT and Stand and Deliver WrestleMania weekend. So we're there, guys. We're going to be hitting the hype train hard and fast for that. And here we'll probably really soon, within the next couple of weeks, get a very good feel and understanding for what we can expect on that card. Just under 2 months away. But CJ, I think that can take us into tonight's jobbers and megastars of the night. Hell of a show. But yeah, let's do this. It's jobber time. As I bring up all of the things there, what do I have? Where's the oh, love it.
Oh,
I
this
have a
job
cat.
gets all the more ridiculous with every passing day. I
It
love
sure
it.
does. Oh, there goes Celeste. She was the one in the tree, by the way.
Oh, well, glad she got down.
Yeah, she's down. She's safe. Clearly, she's the this is what happens when you find a cat in West Virginia at a fast food biscuit restaurant and bring her home. Um, it's her origin story. Um, but yeah, jobbers of the night. CJ, man, who do you have as your jobber of the night? I'm going to be honest. I'm having a hard time with the jobber aspect this evening.
I think I talked myself into it with my rant about those masked assailants earlier, but uh, they're my jobbers of the night. They are not doing anything productive. Like, yes, they're attacking people, but they're not adding anything of value to themselves. Like, they haven't given me anything for me to care about. So, I don't know. Like, the one negative aspect of long-term storytelling is this slow burn stuff. Well, let's turn up the heat a little. Let's actually do something with them and give me something to get invested in. They haven't done that yet, but they're still a focal point of the show. So they are my jobbers of the night. the night.
You know what? I can get on board with that. I didn't really have a proper one. I felt that for the most part, everyone kind of did what they needed to do tonight. But I'm with you. They really do need to start doing something a little more with this and start to get a bit more cohesive direction, I guess, with it. But yeah, I can. I'm there with you, CJ. You talked me into it.
Well,
I
thanks for hopping on the bandwagon.
Yeah, I will say as a minor runner up, the egos and psychological well being of Fraxium after seeing this picture.
Oh, that's a bummer.
I've never seen champions look so sad. Like it's funny, like it's great, like but it's not going to be framed in either of their homes.
I mean, unless they visit the home and sneak it in there as a goof. But
You know what? I'm saying it now. If I ever meet Fraxium or either of the Hardys, I am printing this picture out and getting that signed.
oh, 100%, that'd be
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah, that's it. I'd love to pop that one down in front of Fraxium. They'd probably get kind of irritated with me. And it really like it's a shame that Fraxium couldn't pull it out. They had I meant to share this earlier too. They had strong words of encouragement from Miss NXT herself and liaison to TNA, Ariana Grace, but and clearly they look thrilled
Oh,
that she was
absolutely.
there.
Well, especially Axiom.
Yeah, oh man, oh damn, good times. But all right, let's go from jobbers to happier, higher places here. It is megastar of the nighttime, and yeah, let's. They're too kind to us. Either they're too kind, but yeah, again, this one was difficult for different reasons. I feel like, and I was split pretty evenly between the two that it came down to for me. But at the end of the run here, she edged out the guy I had there. But this is it's Stephanie Vactor's night for me, man. This was just a historic moment for her. It was a huge main event. And I hope this starts a hell of a run for that NXT Women's Championship for her. But I loved it. Huge moment. The crowd was there for it. The right venue for it. It's a history making venue. It was awesome. But I'm going with Stephanie Backer for my next start today. DJ, what do you have?
Your top two, I guarantee, are the same as my top two, and since you went with her, I'm gonna go with him. My megastar of the night tonight is Oba Femi, the NXT champion, showing out against one of the um, one of the premier TNA talents that has been able to generate some buzz for a match against Oba Femi. They had an absolute demolition derby of a match. It was fantastic, and it really goes to show the level of faith that Shawn Michaels has in Obafemi to be able to play such a pivotal role in the TNA crossover.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely megastar of the night material for me.
Yep, and you were absolutely right. That was the other side of my megastar coin this evening. Just brilliant performance after brilliant performance from Obafemi. He just knocks it out of the park every time. We've all pretty much said that from the breakout tournament with him. Like just after that night, I think we've all been Obafeminists since that day.
100%.
Yeah. But all right. But that's the God, that's NXT guys. That was everything again. we appreciate all y'all tuning in tonight. Real quick before we go into the closing procedures here, real quick, next week on NXT, I'm looking through my pictures here. I know I have them in here. We're gonna have Ricky Saints, and it still says Megastar of the Night on there. Let's get rid of there. We are. But we're gonna have Ricky Saints and Ridge Holland. Saints. They go marching in. 6-person mixed tag. Adriana Rizzo, Stax, and Luca Crucifino taking on Nico Vance, the son of Bull Buchanan, Brooks Jensen, and Izzy Dame. Also, of course, as we talked about a bit, the NXT Underground match with Trick Williams and Eddie Thorpe, and the United States Championship on the line as Chelsea Green defends against Sol Ruca. So, good show next week coming up as well. Guys, but thank you all for tuning in live tonight. And if you had a good time here this evening, I've got some pretty good news for you. We're not here just talking about NXT week after week. Oh, no. We are here every single night because professional wrestling never stops. So Dirt Sheet Radio is always on. We are here Monday nights for Raw, Tuesday nights for NXT, Wednesday nights you can tune in for the Dirt Sheet Radio flagship program, which also includes the rewind for AEW 2-for-1 special, guys. Check it out every week. Thursdays, that's for TNA Impact, which is kind of our sister show these days. And of course, Fridays were made for SmackDown or Smack Sound. And on the weekend, CJ and I, when we can, bring you the Weekend Wrestling Roundup, having a good time and breaking down the week in news the way we see fit. And also on Sundays, the 3NT crew break it down and tell you everything about what's going on in this wide world of professional wrestling. CJ, brother, where can the folks find you next?
Well, I hope to be back to regular NXT rewinds with you, Tyler, here on Tuesday nights. Other than that, I think I'm pretty much at Twitter at CJCarter22, and if I'm around, I'm around.
Right on. And guys, as always, I am Tyler, the Pro Wrestling Hipster. You can find me at PW Hipster on Twitter and over on Instagram. But I'm mostly on the Book of Face, where I'm the Pro Wrestling Hipster. So after you follow Dirt Sheet Radio on all social media outlets, why don't you give me a follow over there too? I'm trying to crack 2,000 before WrestleMania happens, guys. It's a little personal goal. But I appreciate that. And hey, guys, also, if you could hit that like, that subscribe button over on YouTube, the bell, you'll know when we're doing things. I know it's annoying to hear it, but it really does help us out, and we appreciate it a lot. But guys, thank you again so much for tuning in live tonight. I'm Tyler, the Pro Wrestling Hipster. That is CJ, the CJ Carter, at CJ Carter22. This is Little Molly Holly. Thanks, guys. Dirt Sheet Radio will be live again tomorrow night. Have a wonderful night, everyone, and we will see you and talk to you again very soon.
Yeet.
Chaos, I'm searching for peace, but it's hard to